Okay guys, today we're going to go through adding unlike denominators of fractions with mixed numbers. So again, I'm going to focus on the 5 there on the front, and I'm going to fill the middle of this. So this center part, we're going to do adding unlike denominators. Oh, if I could spell today. With mixed numbers. So the part that's going to be different for us today is that we're going to incorporate the idea of having a mixed number there. And so as we go through, we actually have 4 examples, but I want to use one of the sections so we can kind of get some big ideas together. So for my big ideas, the big thing that we need to remember on this is that we need to make every value a total fraction. That means that they have to either be proper or improper. But it has to be one or the other. The good news for this is we can still use the butterfly method. So our method is still going to be the same, even though we're going to kind of adjust for those mixed numbers. The very last piece, and probably the most important if we're going to use the butterfly method, is that we need to check to see if we can reduce at the end or make a mixed number. And that's just if you need to. So if it's needed, then you're going to do it. The big thing for us is we really have to pay attention to make sure that we don't forget that step, because that would literally screw up the entire problem. So it's a shame if you've done every other thing right and that's the one thing that you've missed. So let's take a look at our first problem so you can kind of see what I mean. So here's my first one. It's 3 and 5 over 7 plus 2 and 5 over 7. Now, as we've talked about before, there are lots of ways to do these problems. I'm going to kind of go through the way that most students kind of benefit from, but remember, there's almost always more than one way to do these. So the big thing for us is because these are mixed numbers, we're going to have to make them improper in order for this to work. So if I do this, 7 times 3 is 21, plus the 5 on top is 26. So 26 over 7. Now notice I'm moving it down a little bit because I want to be able to have room to do the actual butterfly method when we get there. So if I switch the other one, 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 5 is going to be 19. So 19 over 7. Okay, so we've got that set up. So now, oops, I'm trying to make it so you can still see the numbers. I'm going to go ahead and make my butterfly. And as I go forward, we're going to start to multiply together. So the first one that I have is 7 times 26. So 7 times 26 is 182. And 7 times 19 is my next one. So 7 times 19 would be 133. Now we're going to add those together and put it on the top of my fraction right here. Okay, so if I'm going to go through, I'm going to add those two up. And I'm going to end up with, oh, I guess I already have a pen. 315. And now I'm going to go down here and focus. So I have 7 times 7, which is 49. And this goes here. Now remember, anytime I get a fraction here, I'm going to put it in Desmos to see if I can reduce. So I have 315 over 49. Remember, you're going to hit the fraction bar or the fraction icon in the blue bar in front. And I get 45 over 7. Now for us, the top number is still bigger than the bottom one, which means that I'm going to have to do some dividing out. So 7 can go into 45 6 times, which is 42, and I have 3 left over. So I'm going to have 6 3/7. Okay, let's go to our next one. So my next one is 10. Oops, I guess I should write B there. Is 10 1/9 plus 7 5/6. Now, I am going to take both of these and make them improper fractions. So 9 times 10 is 90, plus 1 is 91. So 91, I guess I'm going to write with something a little darker there. 91 over 9. Now 6 times 7 is 42, plus the 5 on top is 47. So 47 over 6. Okay, now I'm going to start to get my butterfly set up. Now you can already tell I have much bigger numbers. That happens when we have mixed numbers often. That's not unusual. But I want to make sure that, again, if you're reducing and doing everything you can, even though the numbers get a little bigger, you have the same strategy every time. So if I start with this first one, 91 times 6, which is 546. I guess I'm going to move this down just a bit. So 546. If I go the other direction, I have 9 times 47. Which will be 423. And I'm going to add these two together to get the top of my fraction. So 546 plus 423 is 969 in the top. And then I'm going to go deal with the bottom ones. So I have 9 times 6, which is 54. It's going to go there. So again, we're going to take this fraction now that we have, and we're going to go ahead and put it in Desmos. So I have 969 over 54. I'm going to hit the fraction icon. So it's 323 over 18. Now, it is improper. The number on top is larger than the number in the bottom. So I'm going to have to divide it out. So let's see, 18 doesn't go into 3, but 18 goes into 32 once. 14 left over. I'm going to bring down my 3. 18 goes into 143 7 times, which is 126. Which means I have 17 left over. So when I go and put my fraction together, it's going to be 17 and 17 over 18. Okay, that's B. We've got 2 more left. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so I have 2 and 7 over 8 plus 3 and 4 over 11. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my improper fractions. So 2 times 8 is 16, plus the 7 on the top will give me 23. So it's 23 over 8. If I go look at the next one, 11 times 3 is 33, plus the 4 on top is going to be 37. So it's 37 over 11. Now we're going to get our butterfly part set up. So I have 23 times 11. So 23 times 11 is 253. 8 times 37 is the next one. So 8 times 37 is 296. And this needs to get put on the top. So 253 plus 296 is 549. Now I have to get this part in the bottom. So 8 times 11 is 88. Oops. That's going to go here. Okay, now our first step has to be to put this in Desmos and see if we can reduce. So 549 over 88. And I can see on this one it doesn't change. That tells me it's reduced as much as it can. But it is improper. So remember, if the top is larger than the bottom, I'm going to have to divide it out. So 549 divided by 88. So the most it can go in there is 6 times, which is 528, which leaves 21 left over. So 6 and 21 over 88. Okay, we got one left. So my D is 4 and 3/7 plus 6 and 3/5. Now, to be able to set that up, I have to make both of these into improper fractions. So 7 times 4 is 28. Plus the 3 on top is 31. So it's 31 over 7. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 3 is 33. Okay, now if I go through and look at these, I got to multiply these two. So 31 times 5 is 155. In the other direction, 7 times 33 is 231. And I'm going to put those together to get the top. So 155 and 231 is 386. Now in the bottom, I'm multiplying these two. So 7 times 5 is 35. So that's the bottom number. Okay, now it's our time to take it and to plug this into Desmos and see if we can get it to reduce. So 386 divided by 35. And I can see the fraction doesn't change, so it's reduced as much as it can be. But because the top is larger than the bottom, we're going to have to divide it out. So 35 doesn't go into 3, but 35 goes into 38 one time. $35 goes into 36 once, with 1 left over. So it's 11 and 1 over 35. Okay, next we're going to make our switch, guys. We're eventually going to get to subtraction.